Hello there, you're watching The Pulse on the Joy News channel. This afternoon, months after government forced many Ghanaians to link their Ghana cards to their SIM cards, Momo fraud, which the exercise sought to address, remains high in Ghana, with many falling victim to fraudsters.
Some amount of 400 cedis, so I should check by dialing my PIN. So then I was very curious. I didn't know that maybe it's true or it's not true. But the moment I just dialed my PIN code, they just took the money.
Well, the sad reality on the streets of Accra, and this afternoon we're speaking to experts and some persons affected by the scam. Also in this package, another financial sector crisis looming as Cocoa Bill bondholders face hardship as unpaid coupons strain livelihood, with some retirees uncertain about when their funds will be released. We'll get you some reactions.
It's not been easy. It's not been easy. I've got a kid in school, in the university, and I have medical bills I have to take care of. We have the house I have to take care of, and it's not been easy.
And we're asking that question this afternoon: should our celebrities be allowed to advertise alcoholic products? That's the question on your mind, I believe, as well. It's time for us to take a look at the Supreme Court ruling, or perhaps that decision that will be made in the coming days to answer this question as the court begins deliberation on it. We'll bring you updates on what transpired today. These and more are coming away here on The Pulse. The Pulse is always brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. We're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and myjoyonline.com. I'm Blessed Soga. Joy News is independent, fearless, and credible. Well, this afternoon, government's effort to combat the rising tide of mobile money fraud, requiring users to compulsorily link their SIM cards to their Ghana cards, was hailed as a move that will curb fraudulent activities that had become a growing concern when it comes to the mobile money space. It was expected that tying each SIM card to a verified identity could actually thwart the fraudulent activities, protect users, and also maintain the integrity of the financial transactions happening within the space. This afternoon, as we explore solutions to the situation, we have lined up some experts, victims, and also players within the industry on the rising cases of mobile money fraud. We have a special report detailing the problem and how possibly it can be solved.
Mobile money fraud has now become so pervasive. The motive is varied, but the bottom line is to get money from you. These deceptive schemes often commence with a seemingly ordinary text message, characterized by glaring grammatical errors. Spelling errors and poor construction in fraudulent messages might just be a deliberate strategy employed by cyber criminals.
When you see the bad spelling, it is not as if they can't spell.
Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, suggests that the use of poor grammatical constructions by the fraudsters is just an attempt to circumvent their new artificial intelligence-enabled system.
The confirm, maybe the R that is there, they will make it an S. They will change a few of the things in there so that once the AI is crawling it, he sees it, it's not what it is that he's looking for. So, but fortunately for us, now we're beginning to use AIs. So what the AIs do is that once they see all of this, they learn. So they start seeing the spelling mistakes that you want to beat them.
Other times, these fraudsters will call you with promises to lure you to send them money. Ohene Anoche was almost scammed weeks ago. He now knows the plot of these fraudsters very well.
No, they will just call you like normal call. and then he will say hello. So he will not even ask your name first. No, he will just say, it is me, your auntie, who is in London. And then personally, I don't have any auntie in London. So I just said, which of my aunties in London? He said, oh, have you forgotten? Then you mentioned some name. So I just said, no, I don't have any auntie in London. So.
As unsuspecting individuals continue to fall victims to various schemes, the tactics employed by these fraudsters continue to evolve.
Someone will just call you and be like, when will I receive the money? Please, I've sent you this money. Can you confirm? And several calls of that, several calls.
They were asking me, when am I paying my debt? So I asked, with debt? And then he said the debt I was owing him. The way the person responded again and spoke with me again, I realized it was one of these fraudsters.
Like I deposit 1,000 cedis into my account, and the person was calling me, I sent 250,000 cedis into my account.
So they have sent 250,000 cedis to your account?
To my account. I should withdraw it back to him. Then I went back to check my account, and I noticed that, it was a lie. And I bossed up him by giving him some sense into his head.
Rose and Okwe have been victims of cyber fraud.
And when they called me, they said they've sent me some amount of 400 cedis. So I should check by dialing my PIN. So then I was very curious. My brother asked me not to do it, but I told him, being a good Samaritan, but I didn't know that maybe it's true or it's not true. But the moment I just dialed my PIN code, they just took the money. And later on, I called them to beg them that please, the money was for something important. They should send the money back to me. But they refused. And I called MTN. MTN told me they would get back to me, but nothing.
The strange number called me, then he was like, he sent me money, so I should check my account. But after that time, I didn't receive the money. So some few minutes later, the message came from MTN, like it was MTN, like if you receive money from MTN, but it was coming from a Tigo line. So but I was just suspicious, like how will I receive?
The person introduced himself as a worker from a telecom company.
Yes, that he works at MTN and he sent the money to me. Then all right, the message came all right as MTN, but it was coming from a Tigo line. So I started reading the message. I realized that there was spelling mistakes and all that from it. So I relaxed, and he called again that he sends me the money. I checked my account. I should check my account that instantly. And I was like, no, the message you sent was even wrong. And this is not how messages appear from MTN and all that. Then he was pressuring me. Then I should just check my account number. And I was like, no, there's no way I'm checking my account. Because of that, he got bored. They started insulting me. I just hung up.
Mobile money operators are not even spared.
They will tell you that they want to check. They want to help you with some difficulties that you are facing in the business. For me, they've been calling, but me, the moment you said I'm from MTN, I'll just end the call. I don't listen because MTN has only one number.
The modus operandi has, however, evolved over the years.
You know, like Tieno Achebu would say, when the hunter learns to shoot without missing, the birds learn to fly without perching.
Now, they pose as agents of some of the mobile networks under the guise that you were a lucky winner of a draw.
I'm Linda Ofori. Our calls are recorded for education and training purposes. So for detailed understanding, are you okay with the English or should I speak to you in any local dialect?
Oh, but you are already communicating in English.
You are 28 years. Could you remember the number of years you've also been on a network with this very particular mobile number?
I think about 15 or so.
Okay, so you are very close. I'm going to remind you of the year you registered the SIM card. So MTN, we thank you very much. We were asking all these questions to actually survey the network to know how good or bad it's performing.
From enticing phone calls promising rewards to posing as mobile network agents, the aim of the scammers is simple. Extract your personal information and use them to later impersonate you.
So we have a very nice package for you. And please, with the prices we have for you, have to visit the nearest MTN branch with your valid ID card, that is your Ghana card, to receive your package successfully. So first of all, MTN is giving you 50 cedis airtime for free. You can use this airtime for both local and international calls. Secondly, you're also receiving a 2 gigabyte data bundle. It has no expiry. And finally, Hisense Company Limited. So Hisense is giving you a 2.0 horsepower air-conditioned gadget. So please, I would like to confirm your AC numbers. Please, what are your AC numbers over there?
What number?
Haven't you received any AC number? Your AC code, please. That is 6 numbers, please.
Okay, but okay, you said I should tell you what it is.
We are verifying it for you, please, so that I can bring it to the office, please. With your Ghana card, that is all, please.
But the message says do not share.
Oh yes, please. We said the message is that you see yellow MTN. Do not share this code with any MTN employee or anyone. Okay. So we are giving reference to that. After verifying for you, no one from MTN will call you again unless you come to the office, and then this will be the message you will disclose to the representative who is going to assist you.
About it is that there are basic things. Some red flag. One of the red flags is that you've won something. Red flag. Immediately somebody tells you one, it's a red flag. And that one about I have sent you some number. Another red flag.
Some victims, despite their efforts to report incidents of fraud, find themselves faced with a frustrating silence from telecom companies. Complaints lodged against fraudulent activities often go unanswered, leaving victims without the resolution they seek.
No, I didn't hear anything. The moment someone calls me like that and I suspect the person to be a fraudster, after reporting them to MTN, I block them.
Sometimes if you encounter a problem of that sort, it is difficult to reach out to MTN. Sometimes you can call them for some few minutes, long minutes, they will not even pick. So looking at the stress you go through, you just say, okay, since they did not able to take anything from me, let me end it there.
No, they only said I should call in 24 hours. And within that 24 hours, I called again and they said they can't do anything about it. And I got angry and hung up the call.
To cure this, government has since 2022 made it compulsory for every SIM card user to link it to their Ghana card for one major reason. By tying each SIM card to a verified identity, government sought to create a system that could thwart fraudulent activities, protect users, and maintain the integrity of financial transactions.
The need for re-registration of SIM cards is obvious. There's a lot of cyber crimes that are committed by people on our networks. With our mobile money system, there's a lot of impersonation, identity theft out there. So for security reasons, it is imperative that we register our SIM cards.
People of all ages endured days of frustrating queues to obtain their Ghana card, the mandatory document for the SIM card re-registration exercise.
Today is my 5th time. Now I was here. Today my last day I came. I don't know what is going to happen to me today. So today, if I didn't get it today, I think they will send me to military barracks.
Subsequently, they faced further frustration, spending additional hours in another line to link their SIM cards to the acquired Ghana card.
I believe if they can do something about it, because there are a lot of people behind me.
However, despite the well-intentioned move, the cyber criminals are undeterred. It appears, with each step taken by government, the scammers employ various schemes to outwit unsuspecting victims and exploit weaknesses in the system.
They found ways. So now what happens? Generally, some of the new ways that you and I are entitled to 10 numbers that we can register, a maximum. So they will see a few of our friends who do not really understand what these things mean. Give them some 20 CDs, and then they'll go with them and they'll go register the SIMs in their names.
Some SIM card subscribers believe that some employees within the telecom companies collude with fraudsters, sharing the personal information of their subscribers. This shared information, they believe, is then exploited against the unsuspecting subscriber.
I think there are some people in the office, in the MTN office, that works with those scammers. But sometimes, how they even get your number and everything is strange.
Most of the SIM cards in Ghana are supposed to register their Ghana card. So if you report, it should be easy to find those people.
Do you think the systems in Ghana can do that? Even when you report and they trace, they won't end up seeing anybody or they don't end up arresting anybody. So sometimes you just have to be vigilant and then be careful about.
Dr. Ashigbe, however, says that telecommunication companies are exploring other novel means to sanitize the space.
Because another thing that we've done is that as a chamber, we have what we call the fraud control dashboard. So when things like this happen and it's reported, the first thing is that the MNO to whom it's reported would investigate it. When they establish that fraud has been perpetuated, what they then would do is that they would then go and block that person's number. The phone number would be blocked. When the phone number is blocked, they then go by, and then every phone has an IMSDI number and a unique number to a phone. Though some of the clone numbers, phones, can clone it. So they will block the device as well. So what will happen is that if I use this to do it, then this device will be blocked. I can't use it anymore. But then they will then report it on the FCD. So if it's operator A, you report it on FCD. Then the other two operators as well would also block that device. So what it would mean that that device cannot be used in Ghana again. Then if that particular ID behind it has been used in perpetuating multiple fraud, then we would go back again and then block the ID. So once they blacklist the ID, you can't use the ID to register any SIM again.
Despite the initial challenges posed by mobile money fraud, telecom companies maintain the belief that integrating the Ghana cards with SIM cards will ultimately prove instrumental in eliminating fraudulent activities. Subscribers earnestly hope for a more robust and responsive telecom service when addressing their concerns related to mobile money, particularly in handling and resolving complaints. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Well, it's time now to dig into the figures, looking at the complaint rate and, of course, what's been done so far about the increasing spate of more money fraud activities. Joining us in studio now, data research analyst Isaac Ofijay with the Joy News Desk comes in studio now with some of the figures that we're looking at and walk us through it. How rampant in terms of figures do we find Momo cases or Momo fraud cases being reported on a daily basis?
Well, Blessed, we were actually shocked when we saw this data from the Bank of Ghana data repository. So the research team, we've been looking at the average Momo cases. We decided to do 2021 and 2022. This is when we started, putting some of them together. Right. So we are looking at, on average, about 12,000 cases between 2021 and 2022. That is very significant. Imagine we having about 12,000 cases per year. Now, in terms of the amounts involved, if you do the analysis, you realize how much people are losing as a result of some of these mobile money fraud. So in 2021, for instance, if you can show that on the touch screen, we had about $14.3 million involved in mobile money, fraud. And we lost 12 million of them, 14 million involved, and you have about 12 million lost. Then in 2022, 14.3 million now moved to 27 million. You can see there about 88.8% increase there just between a year, 365 days. Where amount involved was 27 million Ghana cedis. We lost 26 million Ghana cedis. It means that a lot of them, about 90% of the amount involved, could not be recovered. If you compare the amount lost between years, from 2021 to 2022, you see a rise of about 117%. Now, I am taking you to the Bank of Ghana summary data. And you realize how important the mobile money business has become in terms of being a component of our economy. So for instance, you have about, as of October 2023, you have about the registered mobile money accounts in Ghana was around 53.8 million. Registered mobile money accounts in Ghana, 53.8 million. That's a registered amount number. If you look at the active mobile money account, that 53.8 million registered account now decreases by close to half to now 20.2 million. It tells you that a lot of people have registered mobile money, but they're actually not using it. And some of these people could be fraudsters, you get it. And then also you look at the active mobile money accounts. That's what we talked about, 20 as against the registered 53. Then the registered agents are now hovering around, 670,000. Then comes to why the mobile money business is attracting a lot of fraud, because it's now becoming a very big market. The total number of transactions as of October 2023 last year, it was around 480 million Ghana cedis. That's the total number of Momo transactions we did in Ghana between in 10 months. 480 million transactions. And this resulted in a total value of transaction worth 100.2 billion Ghana cedis. That's about $1 billion. So you realize why it is attracting people and why it has become so important for us to put some of these measures in place to make sure that people are not losing their monies, because it's become the easiest way to transfer money. You get it. And you have people complaining about the MTN system and all of those things, where we have a Bank of Ghana report actually categorically stating that about majority of the mobile money fraud actually comes from that angle.
The indication from the National Identification Authority is that, with the synchronization of the Ghana card to your SIM card, of course, once you get that process through, they will be able to track, of course, the identity, biometric details of any individual that may be engaged in these fraudulent calls. How come that we're not able to, successfully track down these people, and that the BOG report continues to flag these activities?
Well, so you find that people have found ways and means to go past the system.
Right.
Just like the way people have used ways and means to evade the e-levy. As simple as that.
Right.
And we have fraudsters who are using fake identification, not fake, as in they are not using the real identification to do the actual registration of their SIMs. So people get shocked when they do that simple check to see the number of, let's say, contacts registered with their identification, and they realize that there are about 5 or 6
accounts linked
to your Ghana card that you are not even aware of. And you have people just going to the vendors and they just buy a SIM and they say, oh, I don't have a Ghana card. So, oh, make me a register, man. They say, oh, pay some small amount, let me do it for you. And there are others who, when you go and register your SIM, we have reports that people are now taking people's identifications and now selling to other people as a result of that. And all of those things, when you do not use the right identification, tracking down the people becomes
a difficulty.
Where it's clear that you have about 53.8 million registered mobile money accounts and just about 20.2 million are active.
Isaac, let's bring in now Ransford Nana-Addo Jr., banking and telecom fraud expert, joining the conversation now. Charles Kwesi Addo is also spokesperson for the Momo Agents Association. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Ransford, the point about the BOG acknowledging that this is a challenge, over 88% surge in fraudulent cases in terms of the reportage. How do we deal with this emerging trend?
Thank you very much. I think that industry players even acknowledging that this is a problem is a good way to start. But if we do not put some measures in place as soon as possible, we are going to get to a point where there will be a decrease in terms of the confidence in this payment system. Mobile money has come to stay. There's no two ways about that. And as a country, this is going to go a long way to, as it were, improve our financial inclusion drive. However, like Ken said, the people are getting smarter. Every day they are improvising new ways of dealing with innocent people and moving their money. One of the surest ways that I think we need to deal with this is to deal with the issue of SIM registration and do it properly. Okay? Now, you have instances where individuals have their SIM cards registered. Individuals have their Ghana cards using registrations that they are not aware of. Also, we are having situations where there are a lot of money moves in the system. People register SIM cards and give it to fraudsters without even knowing what the fraudsters are going to do with it. And at the end of the day, you can't track these fraudsters because there are people who are not aware of the consequences of using their IDs to register for SIM for people. That is where awareness is the surest way to go. I do not think that we have done much in terms of fraud awareness on this mobile money fraud. Now, when M-Pesa started in Kenya, they had similar issues or even worse, but there was a very intentional effort to make sure that they'll bring down the figures. Now, looking at over 86% increase from the BOD statistics, I wouldn't be surprised at all to know that even the rate of reporting, only few people will be reporting because the people you interview said that when they report, nothing is being done about it. Therefore, the interest to report may not be there, but the figures may even be higher than this. What we need to do is to sit down and have a stakeholder forum where we need to answer the questions of one, who bears liabilities of these things? Customers take some of the responsibility. Because I mean, if you are called in this day and age and somebody tells you that you have received a 6-digit code, which is your one-time password, mention it to us, and you go ahead and mention. Meanwhile, that same message tells you that you shouldn't disclose this to anybody, even including people who say they are calling from MTN. So awareness is very, very key. We need to increase the rate of awareness because mobile money has come to stay. The next thing we need to do is to introduce a lot of machine learning and artificial intelligence systems to be able to spot some of these things. Now, when these guys are moving money from innocent people's wallets, usually they would have gotten some SIM cards, just registered them within a day or two, and it's receiving money at a very atrocious rate. What we need to do is to have artificial intelligence systems say that this number just registered, and how come it's receiving money from our 3 or 4 people at a go? This is not something that we should encourage. Let us block it and make a verification. The next thing we need to also introduce in this conversation is geofencing. We should be able to fence people based on their normal behavior and say that, okay, these guys who are doing this, they are usually within this subnet, they are within this base station. Therefore, if we are seeing some transactions coming from that side, then it's very likely that these are fraudulent transactions. Because you see, awareness, we haven't done much. Our systems, if you like, I mean, to be very charitable to all industry players, today, listening to the people you interview, you realize that they are helpless. We do not even know where to go to report and how we even discuss whether we are going to get our monies back.
All right.
The confusion around who bears the liability, whether it is the customer, whether it is an agent, whether it is the telco, is a way that we have not actually done much. The last thing is that I think mobile money fraud in this country is too attractive. How many mobile money fraudsters have been jailed and it has been broadcasted or telecasted for people to know that this thing that everybody is doing, as a young man, as a young lady, do not go and do it.
I see.
Because we prosecute them and nobody gets to know. So it is very attractive.
In fact, it's the reason for which I want to hear from Charles Kwesi-Addo, spokesperson for the Momo Agents Association. And Charles, I believe that many of your members are experiencing equally this frustration that many Ghanaians have been talking about. And your side faces a bigger danger because you deal with significant amounts or volumes of money.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kofi, and thanks for having me. I feel that mobile money have come to stay, as all the people who have shed their light on fraudulent activities with regards to the happenings in the mobile money ecosystem. I want to say that fraud has come to stay, so far as mobile money have come to stay. You know, in the whole world, in its entirety, there is no system which is 100% safe. And therefore, as users of this technology, I think that we should have an alternative with regards to how we prevent things from happening. With that said, security is a shared responsibility. And then the agent, trust me, now broad day robbery or going to robbery in the evening or in the night is quite difficult, and therefore people are coming the easiest way. They hide behind the scenes and commit atrocious sins. But trust me, my brother, mobile money agents are committing suicide Some are also running away, leaving their containers and their shops. And I will tell you the statistics that the Bank of Ghana preview to you, I will tell you it's just those who are bold enough to come out clear and report, not come out boldly, and they feel probably, therefore it is with them. High pressure, blood pressure has taken over them. And my brother, a lot is happening. Even myself seated here, I was once a culprit. In 2022, my wife called me that there has been a transaction of 3,000 Ghana cedis. Interestingly, because I don't know, I'm a national figure, and I have those who are in authority with regards to the telcos, MTN. So I then remember I called the then CEO of the mobile money, Elihene, and upon calling him, it came to pass that he was able to withhold the money. But interestingly, there is a new way that they are doing things. What now they are doing is when they block your SIM and then they take your money, they transfer the money from one telco to the other. So what happened was my money was transferred from an MTN platform to Vodafone platform. But because of the urgency of my situation, Mr. Elihene was able to forward an email to the Vodafone head, and they blocked the account from the end of the Vodafone. So ask yourself, how many Ghanaians will have this opportunity? That money was reversed to me. And interestingly, the fraudster called back, indicating that I am a lucky man. Over thousands of transactions he has done, it is only mine which never went through. So I feel that as a people and as a country, once mobile money have come to stay, we should be serious as a country, and we should give training and adequate education to both the end user, the agent body, and the regulators.
I see. Let's look at
so
the way...
we have a long way to go.
Yeah, indeed. And let's look at the way forward now as to how we can practically deal with the imminent threats we are facing, the trend that we see now. Ransford, what's the solution and the way forward in your view? Ransford, you'd have to unmute so I can hear the points you're sharing with us.
Okay. So I mentioned that we need to do more of the public education on Momo. I still do not understand why this day and age, somebody calls you, say, oh, I'm not going to mind you. And another person calls and say, I'm calling from MTN. We just noticed that somebody had called you and we are here to help you. And you give out your digits. We need to intensify awareness. We need to sanitize the Ghana card registration regime because there are still Ghana cards that are being used for, SIM cards that are being used for these transactions. They are registered all right, but you trace it to a dead end. Because sometimes even the people whose Ghana cards were used for this SIM have no idea. And we need to pay attention and sanitize that area. The next thing we need to do is to introduce a lot of machine learning and artificial intelligence into fraud detection. This day and age where things are getting automated, fraud detection cannot be manual. And I think that the telcos have seen that we have no other option than to use machine learning and artificial intelligence so that all transactions that look very odd, all transactions that do not actually go following a certain pattern that we know as normal, we're able to pick it up and deal with it.
All right.
The last thing we need to do, Ken Ashibe mentioned something. The price for mobile money fraud must increase. We need to start blocking the numbers and the devices that these numbers find themselves in when we have confirmed that these are actually frauds. Because if I just go and buy a SIM card for 10 cedi and I can get 1,000 cedis or 10,000 cedis at the end of the day, that is not good enough. We need to start blocking the devices or the MXISDN that they are using for these, the email numbers they are using for these transactions.
All right.
The last one is that
yes,
we need to start prosecuting and naming and shaming and bringing their faces for people to know that the price for doing fraud is nothing but disgrace.
Okay. Let's hear from Charles. Charles, the way forward, what's your plea now to the authorities? Because you're just pointing out how lucky you were doing that transaction. And what would you want the authorities to know about this?
Okay, Kofi, so I feel that we can do three things. One, on the part of the regulator, 2 on the part of the agent, and 3 on the part of the telcos. On the part of the regulator, government should take key interest in how he regulates the issuance of SIM card. Like the US, if you get there and you buy a SIM card, every data that you will provide on the SIM card is synced through a central database. And therefore, whatever you do, they will be able to unravel the brain or the image behind it. So I feel that government should invest more in this high-tech technologies so that you'll be able to reap the fruit of his labor.
Grateful
on
gentleman.
The agents need what in workshops for the agent in place.
We seem to have lost connection to Charles Kwesi Addo there, but thank you. Point well made, and also grateful to all of you for joining the conversation. Some of you have also been sending through your message. Uda Fatal from Upper East region says that I think the issue of the SIM card registration will not solve this problem because I did mine, but of course they took my money. To me, those working with the MTN and other companies would have to deal with this. Philip from Cape Coast also pointing out that he's a victim of Momo fraud, and the major problem in his view is one of the telcos, and of course raising concerns as to how come these telcos continue to allow customers to of course contact these agents and to deal with some of the transactions. These are some of the messages you've been sending through to us here on the Pulse, and it's a good time to look at some other stories coming up shortly for you. Let's get to that now because the 2023 FinTech report has been released, and it definitely is indicating that cyber fraud such as credit card fraud, identity fraud or romance fraud remains the most prevalent form of cybercrime in Ghana. Significantly, it said that the financial sector has become particularly attentive and also an attractive target for hackers who exploit vulnerabilities in online banking systems. So let's get more on this. Joining us now is Richard Nukwe. Nukwe is the Vice President for Legal and Strategy at the Ghana FinTech and Payment Association. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Very sad, trajectory there for our country. But the topmost concern for you is for us to deal with this problem. Where do we start off from?
I think that and good afternoon to your viewers. I think that the biggest motivation has been how to make quick money. So ultimately, if we want to deal with this problem, we must be looking at dealing with the root cause. And in dealing with the root cause means that those who are engaged in these activities must have some economic activity that they are engaging for immediate rewards. So it has a wider implication on how our economy and society had made available jobs for young people today. That notwithstanding, it also presupposes that companies and individuals as consumers must take initiatives personally to ensure that they also do not, out of greed, be complicit in some of these schemes. Because largely those who fall prey to some of these initiatives are persons.
So let's, I get the point that. So let's look at the key recommendations now and how we can, move forward and practically deal with the problem. Where do we start off from, sir?
In terms of going forward, we first have to increase consumer awareness. And I think most companies are already doing that. And then 2 is that the consumers themselves must begin to be very conscious of some of these things, because if you've not invested money, if you are not expecting any reward from anyone, if you receive some of these anonymous calls and asking you to undergo certain activities, you should become worried. So for me, on the company levels, there needs to be an investment into how generally some of these things are cut off from the system, and then the consumer also bear the responsibility to become very vigilant. Because if the consumers are vigilant, with or without these schemes, people will still be protected from losing money.
Of course, the point about awareness and education, very critical point that we need to be on the lookout for. What would you advise industry players and stakeholders do in these times that we're seeing a surge in the numbers?
I think that one of the things we need to do is to begin to simplify innovations. Where innovations are simplified and people can easily understand and use them on their own, then they become more aware of how to avoid some of these schemes. So innovators must undertake to simplify innovations, make them very user-friendly, and also allow for persons largely who are non-educated to be able to participate in this innovation. Because once that is done, then individuals can take into their own hands the responsibility to ensure that they don't fall victim to some of these things.
All right, grateful for your time, Richard Nugwe here on The Pulse. And of course, we understand that the Bank of Ghana has also put out a notice cautioning the public that never send a picture of your Ghana card or any of your bank cards as well, either debit, Visa, MasterCard, via WhatsApp to anyone at all purporting to be from your bank. If in doubt, all you need to do is to contact the bank and your relationship manager directly. Beware, as the Ghana Association of Banks is also warning this afternoon here on The Pulse. We'll be right back. And moving on, cocoa bill holders who decided not to participate in government's of Ghana's cocoa bill exchange program are demanding Cocoa Board honours the payment of their matured bills before the close of January. They say the inability of the government to pay them their monies is affecting their livelihood. James Eshan visited the Kwams family and came through with this report.
In January 2023, monies paid to investors who purchased cocoa bills on maturity were withdrawn from individual investors' accounts without their consent. Cocoa Board issued the bill to raise funds. Many had bought the bills expecting to be paid back their monies with interest on Thursday, January 19, 2023. Reports from some fund managers indicated the monies were actually paid on Thursday, January 19, 2023, only to be reversed on Friday, January 20, 2023. The banks have pointed to a directive from the Bank of Ghana ordering them to unilaterally roll over the bonds without first seeking the consent of investors. Banks were under pressure from affected customers. Echikwam, a retiree, was one of the affected customers. He expresses shock at the development since the money was rolled over without his consent.
I worked for 36 years. I started at GB Olivant and then went to Unilever. Then I went to Unilever in Zimbabwe. Then I came back to Guinness in Ghana, worked for a short time. Then as for the investments, one can say I've been investing for a while. Treasury bills, fixed deposits and all those things. And it's only recently that we took the cocoa bills.
6 months after the Ghana Cocoa Board launched a debt securities exchange program, under which it invited holders of its short-term debt securities or the cocoa bills to voluntarily offer to exchange their cocoa bills. Cocoa bills holders were asked to sign on to the exchange program, but Echikwam opted out.
As part of my retirement, I got a certain amount and I put it there. We were in another place, and then they came and made another proposal to us, which was interesting. So we moved our funds there. And we were supposed to enjoy our benefit plus our initial capital in January 20. Yeah, that was in 2001. 2023, yeah, 2023. So we were waiting. Then we had some hints that something was up. So we wrote to them and said, look, sell our thing and give us back our investment. Okay. And they said they would try. So come the payment time, I saw that the money had been credited to our account in the morning. Before I could say Jack, it had been debited again. So we were rather surprised. And apparently this debt recovery program had been launched. So we didn't know what was going on.
Almost 6 months after, no communication on the payment for those who decided not to tender. Echi Kwam and wife, amongst others, are worried why government and Cocoa Board are failing to honor payments of those who failed to tender their cocoa bills after government pegged the participation in the exchange program at 97%, with over 7 billion Ghana cedis bills tendered.
We have been extremely successful with the current tendering of more than 90% for cocoa bills of 7.9 billion cedis and US dollar exchange of $809 million. And detailed announcements will flow through when the settlements are done.
According to Gifty Kwam, wife of Echi Kwam, footing the bills of their ward in the university has been very difficult.
I think it's morally wrong. And in fact, it's legally unacceptable, you know. I mean, the trauma even to our children who have to even go through all kinds of things and explanations. It's not right because they know their parents and they know we planned for them, you know. So I'm begging the ministry to pay us our money. That's all. It's our money. You rolled it over without our consent and with your own interest rates. Fine. You give us our money back. Give it to us. That's all we're asking. It's not right to keep it.
The family is in total disbelief and wants their monies to be paid or a communication from the Cocoa Board or the Finance Ministry.
Well, it's not been easy. It's not been easy. I've got a kid in school, in the university, and I have medical bills I have to take care of. I have the house I have to take care of. And it's not been easy. So every month we try and see what we can do, but it has not been easy. And yeah, that's it. It has not been easy. So that's why we keep going to them to try and get them to tell us if anything is going on, you know. But we don't get any proper feedback.
I know you are not the only one being affected by this, but do we have other groups who are also complaining about similar situation?
Well, really, yes, there are other people also going through this. I know there are, I don't want to mention names, but there are other people who are going through similar challenges. I know some people have died because of it. I know some people who are very sick. I know a lot of other people. But this one is, you have to cry for yourself because the way it has been done, we don't get together like the previous guys got together to stage a demonstration and all that because really we don't know ourselves.
It's a very stressful situation to go through at this time when my husband is on retirement and actually not that well, you know.
Is it a joint investment between you and your husband or it's just...
Yes, it's his investment plus mine put together, which we invested there. And, you know, we looked for the best option because it's like a pension stuff. We looked for something that had zero risk. And at the time, I mean, who would have thought that cocoa bills will have issues?
Cocoa bill holders, just like the Kwam's family, are asking for an update on payment for those who decided not to tender their cocoa bills. James Echen's report for Joy Business.
Well, what we know is that Cocoa Board has declined comments on the issue when Joy News reached out to them. But my colleague Elton Brobe has been digging on this subject and joins me for more, which would definitely need to look at now. Elton, let's get to it. Of course, what are you learning on this subject?
Well, Blessed, it's a very straightforward answer I got from authorities at Cocoa Board, and the claim is that this is not new to those who hold some of their bills, because in July 2023, there was an announcement that they invited bill holders to exchange for new ones, and that's what happened. And they rolled out a roadmap that is geared towards paying them either their principal or interest on the investment that they've undertaken with Cocoa Board. And according to my sources, this was done because Cocoa Board needed to restructure about 8.2 billion Ghana cedis. And because the Bank of Ghana had made it clear that Cocoa Board should take care of their own debts and that the Bank of Ghana was no longer going to honor some of these obligations, Cocoa Board now decided to restructure 8.2 billion Ghana cedis. And that resulted in them writing to all bill holders to exchange for new ones. And that was very successful according to Ghana Cocoa Board. There was no concerns raised by others. And for that reason, going forward, what they have done is to roll out a roadmap towards the payments of either the principal or the interest. So starting March 2024, they will start the first payments. And the aggregation is that they will clear off all the debt between 2024 and 2028. It's a 5-year period, and the first payment will start in March 2024. So everybody who has a coupon that is due for payments, the first payment will happen in March 2024. And that is the information I'm picking from the top hierarchy of the Ghana Cocoa Board.
Elton Brobo there with the latest on this matter. And now the Office of the National Chief Imam has welcomed the proposals by the Seventh-day Adventist Church for a review of the December 7 date for the general elections. The SDA Church says many of their church members could be disenfranchised because the election date coincides with Saturday, the Sabbath day dedicated to the worship of God. Additionally, the church is making calls for legislation that will ensure that no election in Ghana henceforth will take place on a day of religious significance. Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty for the SDA Church, Dr. Solis Asafo, tells me that aside a petition to the Electoral Commission, the National Chief Imam has also been engaged on this matter.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. These words of the Holy Bible for any Christian must be and should be kept sacred. But for the Seventh-day Adventist Church Ghana, their faith is about being tested like never before. Similar to 1996, the presidential and parliamentary elections this year falls on Saturday, December 7. According to the teachings of the church, it will be Sabbath, a day fully dedicated to the worship of God. At the Southern Ghana Union Conference here in Accra, I met Dr. Solis Asafo, Director of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty. She explains to me how the democratic gains of the country will be derailed if provisions are not made to cater for members of this church.
Voting is a civic responsibility. Honoring the Sabbath is a godly responsibility. That's how we see it. As enshrined in the Ten Commandments, he says you have 6 days to do all your work, but you have to rest on the Sabbath day. And you know, sometimes people don't understand, but in that commandment, it says that the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of thy Lord. If it were mine, I would decide on what to do with it. But it's God's, and he says on this day, don't do this or do this. So that's where the conflict comes up. And that's why we think that if there's anything that can be done to change the date, it will help our members.
And now we know that you've sent your petition to the Electoral Commission detailing your concerns and what it is, the challenges you have about December 7th and the need to either move the date to November or try and get a date that will not be a Saturday. Have you taken any other step to raise your concerns to the state and to put across your demands?
In June 2021, we actually had an appearance with the President of the Republic and placed before him our concerns. We followed that up subsequently by writing to the Electoral Commission in February last year, indicating or making a proposal for a change. What we were proposing was not for a date change, but we were proposing a day. So we proposed in our submission to the EC the first Tuesday or a Tuesday in November or December.
Announcing their position on the matter, spokesperson for the National Chief Imam Sheikh Nur Shaributu indicated that the Chief Imam welcomes the suggestion of the SDA Church. He's also been pointing out peculiar challenges to the Muslim community and what they may face if elections were held on a Friday.
For us Islam, yes, Friday is an important day. It's an important day, but it is not a holiday for us. But at a time of prayer, it is prohibited for the Muslim, the true Muslim, to engage in any mundane activity where he sacrifices the worship of God within the time that prayer is in session. The Holy Quran makes it very, very, very clear that whenever the call to pray is made on Friday, he said that stop any other worldly activity and hasten to the remembrance of God. So that is a positive injunction. So it's an injunction for us here within that period. In fact, you cannot sacrifice the prayer in order that you go and cast your vote. Because for us, it's a law in Islam. But the whole day, it is not considered a holiday in such a way that you cannot engage in any activity, because after the prayer, we are permitted to go ahead with our mundane activity. So our challenge is just at the time of our prayer, no Muslim will sacrifice the Friday prayer in order to go and cast, because it is seen as a mundane activity. But we say so in order that we respect the days that are held sacred by the different religions, so that democracy is about participation, and everybody must have the opportunity to be able to cast his vote in a very peaceful and fair environment, without feeling intimidated, without feeling isolated, without feeling constrained or restrained by any circumstance. So for us, if we succeed in really getting a compromise day in which nobody's religious practice is compromised or nobody's religious right, is undermined, I think that it will go a long way to also continue to unify us as a nation, because our unity centers around our mutual recognition, solidarity, cooperation, mutual respect, and these are the very, very ingredients that hold us together as a nation.
While Parliament says it is awaiting legal advice from the Attorney General on this matter, Ho West MP and Member of Parliament's Christian Fellowship, Emmanuel Kwesi Bajra, who does not agree with the position of the church, also argues that the concern of the group should be looked into.
Others from the Seventh-day Adventists, the whole country needs to listen to them, and then the whole country will have to take decisions. If you look at the numbers that you just called, the 395,000 membership, it clearly shows that they have at least or close to about 1% of Ghana's population. And so it's worth listening to them and also look at the merit in what they've said. Having said that, Evans, the date has been set as per our constitution and as per the instrument brought by Electoral Commission. Our laws or the constitution in Article 63 says that the election should be held if there's a president and the person is rerunning. It should be held a month before the handing over, or it should be held, it should not be held after 4 months. That means that between October to December, we can hold election so that handing over can be done in January 7th. And so the date for 7th January has been cast in stone, is set in our constitution.
The National Executive Council of the New Patriotic Party is today deciding the fate of the aspirant whose eligibility to contest the upcoming parliamentary elections have been challenged at the Appeals Committee. The National Executive Committee is also expected to fashion out modalities for the conduct of the January 27 elections. Party bigwigs, including Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Chairperson of the party, Stephen Nti, and team, as we know, have all arrived at the Elisa Hotel here in Accra for that crucial meeting. So let's cross over now to the Elisa Hotel here in Accra, where my colleague James Aveji is standing by. James, if you can hear me, first off, what can you tell us from where you are? What can you report?
Blessed. So, as you just mentioned, apart from the Vice President and the party chairman who have arrived, we have other bigwigs who are here to partake in this meeting. The Chief of Staff herself, Honorable Freema Osel Parry, is also here. Former party chairman Freddie Blay is also here. The former General Secretary John Boydu is also here, including the women organizer for the party, Kate Jemfua, the national organizer as well. And so, including other cabinet ministers are all here to attend this meeting. Unlike the previous one that we have witnessed, the president himself is not here. What we're learning is that he is out of the jurisdiction and will not be able to attend this meeting. But two key things the committees are supposed to deliberate on include the report of the National Appeals Committee, as well as draw a roadmap for the January 27 election. We know that as far as the Appeals Committee is concerned, two matters have been referred to them out of the over 320 persons. In fact, the over 370 persons who picked form to contest in the various 137 constituencies. Two persons have been referred to the National Committee, and some 29 of them will be going unopposed, and others will be getting into this election. We know about some 320 would compete in this election. The issue at the National Appeals Committee key is the Adansi Asokwa MP Katie Hammond's appeal to the committee for the disqualification of some three other contenders. A key amongst them is one Samuel Bimfo Darkwa. His contention is that they do not qualify according to the party's constitution. We know that he filed an appeals against them early January this year, but the party executive or the appeals committee at the regional level in the Ashanti region actually threw that appeal out of the window. But just a few days ago, he filed another appeal at the national committee level that three persons who are contending him should be disqualified. They include Kwabena Asamoah as well as Enoch Boachi Echampong, including Samuel Bimfo Darkwa. And so the appeals committee, chaired by Kwame Osei Prempeh, have taken decision on that. What would happen at that meeting, we know, is that they will submit their report to the National Executive Council, who will take some decisions on that, and then the National Executive Council will then forward that to the National Council. We know that that committee earlier in the last meeting was chaired by the president himself, who was the leader of the party. But today, as he's not here, the flag bearer of the party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, will take over the chairmanship of the National Council to take that key decision. As far as the roadmap for the election is concerned, we know that, the National Council is supposed to determine the constituents who are supposed to vote in that election. One key proposal we know before the committee is the fact that there is the call for members of parliament who are not within the jurisdiction to be allowed to vote via proxy. And so, and other ministers who are supposed to, cabinet ministers who fall within the party's definition of constituents who are supposed to vote, should be allowed to vote via proxy. And so we are expecting that the party will take a decision on that as well. And so those are the key issues we are expecting the committees to take a decision on by close of that meeting. We know that last meeting was quite lengthy, went late into the night. We do not know what today's meeting, how long it will take them, but by close of the day, we'll find some answers to those issues. What happens to those referred to the appeals committee, what their fate would be, as well as how the elections will happen when campaigns are supposed to end and who are expected to vote in those elections. Another issue we know about the election is that, for instance, constituencies such as the Sunyani East constituency, again, will not be voting in this election because there is a case in court that is expected to be settled before a decision will be taken on that. And so all of those, by the end of the day, we should know what the party stand is as far as those issues are concerned. Blessed.
Joining us from Alisa Hotel, where the NPP's National Council meeting is underway. We'll bring you updates in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the Supreme Court is set to deliver its judgment on the case and legality in celebrities endorsing alcoholic beverages. The Food and Drugs Authority in 2015 banned celebrities from participating in alcoholic beverage advertisements, citing concerns about protecting minors from alcohol-related influences. But the plaintiff, Mark Osai, contends that the guidelines by the Food and Drugs Authority unfairly targets creative arts industry, depriving them of a significant income stream. My colleague Richard Kojonyako was in court today.
Judgment does not win has gone our way, so we're just being hopeful that at least they would hear us, because this is an industry that doesn't just thrive on the works that we put out there. It is some of these collaborations with corporate institutions, some of these endorsement deals are the things that keep us moving. And you see, it is not like when the money comes into the space, celebrities or artists keep it to themselves. They reinvest it into the industry by employing other people and investing in other initiatives. At the end of the day, it inures to the benefits of Ghana as a country. So we're hopeful, and we pray that it goes in our favor. It's not like anybody wants to banter with the FDA or fight with them in a way. Everybody wants an amicable solution where it will be a win-win so that everybody can go about their business. The celebrities are not, because they have kids, they have families. Naturally, they would not want to endorse products that would go and affect their kids negatively. So they are willing to be responsible, and just as things are done and done responsibly, they are also willing to do this and do it responsibly. So we are hopeful for something in our favor, or let me say in their favor. And at the end of the day, we can all sit with the FDA, jaw, and find a way that even if celebrities endorse alcoholic products, it will still go in a way that children will be protected, although celebrities will still be taxed to find ways to speak to children against alcoholism. So yeah, thank you so much. We're hopeful.
Also, what transpired in court today. Richard Kojonyako is joining us now with details. We've just seen Judge Kwe explaining what the rationale of this, the court settlement might bring about. But what do we know about the activities that happened in court today?
Well, so let's take
us back to 2015 when the Food and Drugs Authority banned the celebrities or well-known personality, people that appear on TV, people that are musicians, actors, and all of that, that the society regard them as such. So you, Blessed, for example, you are regarded as a well-known person, and so whatever you say or do, the believability is there. The children and the young people out there believe you when you put anything out. And so it was based on that, and then they realized that the alcohol intake was also becoming very pervasive, and then the endorsement and advertisement of these celebrities and well-known personality was endangering the lives of the young people, because it encouraged them that once this well-known personality or celebrity is endorsing this product and it is good, so I can go and then get a lot of them and then grab them. And so it was on that basis that the FDA banned that people that are well-known should not be advertising alcohol, and it included these celebrities. And that is why one person, Mark Darlington Osai, felt aggrieved and said that, well, no, this one is also having an adverse effect on our economic activity, because we also relied on that one, and so our streams of income were being affected. And so that is why he went to the Supreme Court challenging the ban by the FDA.
So what happened today?
Well, so what happened today was that the Supreme Court heard the various arguments by the plaintiff, Mark Darlington Osei, who was represented by a lawyer, Bobby Banson, and then the FDA, as well as the Attorney General. And so after listening to both arguments, the court set April 10 for its judgment. In fact, Mark Darlington Osei is invoking the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to declare as unconstitutional the ban or the prohibition by the FDA, the Food and Drugs Authority, that these people cannot. And it cites that one, Article 17.1 and 17.2 of the Constitution. 17.1 indicates that all persons are equal. Right. 17.2 also looks at discrimination, the fact that you are discriminating or selecting a few of the people here that you cannot engage in this activity. And so we await for the pronouncement of the Supreme Court.
I see. So what's the next step now?
Well, the next step is that, just as you heard Judge Quay indicating that, well, they are hoping for a win-win situation, that it would come to a point that they will meet the FDA, and then they also have children in the Ghanaian society. And so the way forward is to act responsibly, even if they are to allow them to advertise and promote or endorse alcoholic beverages, and they also do it responsibly so that the children will not be endangered.
I see. Anything more that those going to court are seeking for?
Well, so what they are seeking is for the courts to trash out, the prohibition placed on the celebrities by the Food and Drugs Authority.
Richard Kojeanyaku there in court for us. And moving on, the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Eslam also has tasked the National Communication Authority to lead a collaborative stakeholder consultation with the Ghana Journalists Association and the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, as well as other media stakeholders, towards ensuring accurate, free and fair reportage during this year's general elections. He was speaking at the launch of the National Communication Authority's 5-year strategic plan, which seeks to promote accelerated digital transformation and industry growth.
Generation of wireless technology that provides faster internet speed, 5G and satellite internet services have been adopted in many parts of the world. And in Africa, although these technologies are not yet operational in Ghana. Speaking at the launch of the 5-year strategic plan of the National Communications Authority, the Deputy Director General, Technical Operations at the NCA, Professor Isa Osei-Boaboatin, revealed that the authority intends to create a licensure framework to regulate 5G services and satellite internet services.
Some strategic actions we intend to embark on include developing licensing framework for 5G spectrum to promote competitive offering of 5G services. We also intend to establish a framework for space services, such as those in geostationary satellite orbit and non-geostationary satellite orbits, to facilitate their effective and facilitate utilization in underserved areas of our country.
On her part, Minister of Communication and Digitalization Ursula Owusu charged the NCA to fast-track adoption of innovative technologies on the market to create room for global competition.
That they have had a strategic plan to guide their operations for the next 5 years. And it is absolutely critical because of the rapidly changing and evolving nature of this sector to have a flexible strategic plan which provides the broad outlines of where the objectives and aims that they want to achieve, but provides for a collaborative, consultative approach to doing their work. They're regulating the sector for the industries and the companies that work in there for the benefit of all of us consumers. And so they have to do so they don't stifle innovation. And innovation is taking place at a very fast pace in this sector. So I'm glad that they've developed this plan, which takes into consideration capacity building, automation of their systems for their staff as well, to enable them to stay abreast with emerging technologies and to be better able to regulate it.
Elikem Day's report read to you.
Management of the Volta River Authority have extended support to thousands of affected victims of the recent flooding that hits communities along the Volta Lake in the Pro East District. The donations, which is the second of its kind, according to the Director of Human Resources at NETCO, Martin Sulemana, is to alleviate the sufferings of the affected population. And Asabit has more.
Donations, which is the second of its kind, is in line with the recent devastations caused by the rise in the water level of the Volta Lake as a result of weeks of heavy rains. Management of the Volta River Authority, who are extending support to the affected communities in the Pro East Enclave, says the move is to alleviate the sufferings of the flood victims. Martin Sulemana is the Director of Human Resources at the Northern Electricity Distribution Company.
VRA recognizes that as a result of the rise in the water levels of the Volta Lake, some communities have been displaced. Some have lost their homes and farms and so on. And so livelihood has become a challenge to them. In recognition of that, management of the Volta River Authority has decided to come to their aid by giving some items out to them as part of the Volta River Authority's corporate social responsibility.
Mr. Martin Sulemana says the move is also to help cover other affected victims who could not benefit from the first batch of donations made in November last year.
We were here a few months ago to do a similar presentation, but that was to be given to, it was an appeal made by the Member of Parliament for the constituency, and the other responded by giving out those donations. But this particular one is also meant for the people who were not covered in the first instance, and we are here to do that so that with the help of the Assembly and NATMO, it will get to the right people.
District Chief Executive for Pro East, Alhaji Adams Abdullahi, was thankful to the Volta River Authority for the donations, but was quick to appeal to other well-wishers to support the district's quest to relocate the affected communities to a much higher ground to avert future occurrences.
Indeed, life cannot be the same as it used to be with my people who have been affected by this flooding. It's very clear. So for the VRA to come to our aid in this regard, I think it is more than a welcoming news, to say the least. So we are grateful to what they have done. So this will go a long way to sort of mitigate the suffering of my people who are indeed affected. Yes, but we are also appealing to the well-wishers who are looking at us at this time to also come to our aid with this roofing materials, because we are going to resettle these people.
Deputy District Director of the National Disaster Management Organization, Mavis Ayure, says the affected communities are willing to relocate but have no suitable place to go to. She therefore appealed for more aid to help provide relief to the people.
What I will tell companies, individuals, and NGOs that should know that people are suffering. And if they are able to help, it will go a long way. Their money, whatever they will support, it will not go in vain. They should help the people. They are in need. They should help.
The items provided includes 300 bags of rice, 60 bags of sugar, 120 packs of mackerel, 180 liters of oil, amongst others. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Yeji.
And our senior lecturer at the SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Dr. George Derry, is sad about the lack of concrete plans for the youth involvement in the governance of this country. Speaking at a youth summit in Wa, Dr. Derry cautioned the potential explosion of youth unemployment, warning that it could become a ticking time bomb if left unattended. Join News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports.
The Youth Summit, codenamed Igniting Dreams, was organized by the Coalition for Positive Impact, CPI, with the goal of empowering young entrepreneurs in the 5 regions of northern Ghana. Launched in 2019, the summit is a proper entrepreneurship development project that provides startup capital and critical support to aspiring entrepreneurs in underserved regions. This year's summit gathered participants from the 5 regions of northern Ghana and beyond, comprising of entrepreneurs, investors, government representatives, thought leaders, policymakers, and international development partners. Diverse panels delve into critical discussion addressing pertinent issues affecting northern Ghana's development. The 2-day summit was held on the theme Developing Northern Ghana through Leadership, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. A senior lecturer at the Simon Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, SDD Yobets, Dr. George Derry, emphasized government's limited efforts in involving youth in the country's governance.
I've had the opportunity also to meet key stakeholders in all the 5 regions, including RCC, who are spearheading youth development. And I have done that, submitted the report. We are here to meet the sector ministers and see how we can conclude, and then put in a proposal to access heavy funding for youth in northern Ghana. The issue is that most of the times our people will talk about the youth, but there are really no plans for the youth. And let me say that we keep on saying that the youth are the future leaders. But if you don't invest in the youth cannot be the future leaders. It's just mere rhetorics. So we really need to invest in the youth.
Dr. George Derry reiterated concerns about the ticking time bomb or youth unemployment, warning of potential severe consequences if the issue remains unaddressed.
And youth unemployment continues to degenerate. And one thing we don't know as a people is that youth unemployment is a time bomb. At the appropriate opportunity, the country will explode if you don't solve it. There's a saying that water will find its level. When you fail to construct gutters or gullies for waters to pass, they will find their level. So if the youth get to a point, they have to survive, they will find their level. And that was what happened with the Arab Spring, where the youth had to get up and take action. So it is important that collectively we address the challenges of the youth as a nation and not just pay lip service to it.
Following the presentation of their business concept, a group of 10 young entrepreneurs received awards and support totaling 38,500 Ghana cedis. 12,000 Ghana cedis was given to the ultimate winner. Founder and president of the Coalition for Positive Impact, Mazo Bayoni, shed light on the summit's objectives and highlighted concerns regarding the accessibility of government funds for youth initiatives.
We started Igniting Dreams in 2018. At the time, we're all three university students, and the fundamental reason for us was that we wanted to address two key issues: poverty and youth unemployment. Because when you are able to provide economic opportunities for people, you are able to solve a lot of problems, including lack of access to quality education, lack of access to good drinking water, and even lack of access to quality health care. So these issues were very personal to us, especially because we are from northern Ghana, and we just took it upon ourselves to try and address these issues by going in the direction of young entrepreneurs. Because if you look at the historical antecedents, it's also evident that before before colonial time, northern Ghana was relatively more developed than southern Ghana. And how did we achieve that? It was through trade and economic activities, and we want to revamp that economic activity in northern Ghana.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
The broadcasting bill, according to the Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, is yet to be laid before Parliament as a result of the ongoing review of certain aspects of the bill. Speaking on the sidelines of a stakeholder engagement and research launched by CDD Ghana on the theme ensuring accountability in the governance of media and internet in Ghana, Kojo Nkrumah underscored the need to include digital media as part of broadcasting networks.
Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah says the broadcasting bill has delayed in being presented before Parliament because it is currently under review, as portions of the said bill did not initially include all aspects of broadcasting, which has since evolved to encompass digital media and other forms of new media.
Broadcasting bill in its current draft does not deal with content acquisition. If you broadcast content of any nature, regardless of how you acquired it, which is considered egregious in accordance with the NMC and NCA and other standards, there are rules for dealing with that.
Meanwhile, MP for Ningo Pram and a member of Parliament's Communications Committee, Sam George, says media organizations should churn out standard and credible content regardless of who owns that organization.
Insofar as we allow religious groups and other interest entities to own media houses, I don't think you should bar politicians from holding media houses. However, the standards in those media houses must meet the same standards in apolitical media houses.
Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah-Yeboah was hopeful the broadcasting bill will be passed if the necessary amendments are done.
Yes, these are some of the things that I think when eventually the bill comes out, we should be able to discuss. Because drones, as you said, they sometimes intrude into the privacy of others. And privacy is so cardinal when it comes to our space here. And for that matter, those of you who use it, I'm not saying that's the case, but we need to look at it and see how best we can regulate it.
Senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies, who conducted a research into media usage in Ghana, Dr. Ilyasu Mumuni, revealed that more men use social media than women.
One of the key things we observed was the issue of gender disparity when it came to use of social media. Hitherto, all of us were thinking that women, were the key drivers when it comes to social media usage, but the data actually proved us wrong.
Questions about the mass saturation of media houses in the country and its effects on the dwindling revenue of some of these outlets continue to be asked. For Joy News, I'm Kenneth.
And that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. I'm Blessed Ogan. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. Lots of stories there for you. And thanks for your time. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.